Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Too Many Guys Soccer Show short. We're starting season 4 of the Too Many Guys Soccer Show podcast, but we're going to jump the gun a little bit here. Our main podcast will return this week to talk about clubs. But right now, there's only one thing on any American soccer fan's mind, and that was the absolute devastation of a World Cup that we were all forced to wake up at 3 a.m. to witness. Joining me here today, Bayern Rob. Bayern Rob, what point of the grief cycle have you reached? Have you gotten bargaining yet?
I'm at the point where I'm just going to choose to remember how beautiful, seeing Australia and New Zealand were. Like I got to see a koala, some kangaroos, the Opera House, got to walk around Auckland. Those are the fond memories. And I also got to enjoy the fact that I was there for the only win that the USA had this tournament. So my apologies to the folks that I had to leave for other obligations. I should have stayed in New Zealand and hopefully willed the gals to victory. But I'm going to basically do this coping session, as we call it, and then I'm going to turn the page tomorrow. The club season starts for me on the men's side, and also I got NWSL action to keep me company as well. But it's tough, man. I'm coping here. I'm struggling. I've yelled, I screamed, I all caps a lot of things here and there. So
Yeah, I think we all did. I think we'll get into that pretty deeply right now. Let's talk about what happened today. So United States and Sweden draw 0-0. It goes to penalties. The United States loses. I think the balance of play had the United States kind of ahead. The majority of shots were certainly with them. But at the end of the day, they couldn't convert either in the regular play or frequently enough in the penalties. Rob, what did you see out there?
So I saw a couple of things. Following the admission of Lacko that he needs a double pivot with Sullivan there. Sullivan's a good 6, or CDM or defensive midfielder, but for the last 3 games she'd been kind of like alone, and usually the person who was doing that alone was Julie Ertz, who shockingly enough did not play any bit of the role here today. So he figured that part out. He had Lindsey Horan as a attacking midfielder, which is much better than her playing defensive midfielder. And they played much better today. They had some chances. They had great goalkeeping to deal with. But there's still a lot of errors here in the selection and the substitution patterns here. And so while Vlatko has learned a lesson or two in this game compared to the others, he did not learn them all. And so thus the USA paid for it by letting penalties, which is I like to think of as the ultimate equalizer, determine this game. And when you go to penalties, things just happen randomly, and we will discuss a little bit more about that, about how it really ended and how random that was. But yeah, it was just tough to watch them get so close and just not put the ball in the back of the net, and then get to that point where we're just all nervous, and it was an emotional roller coaster all game.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things that we should probably remember. The United States lost by literally the finest of margins, by 1 millimeter of a ball crossing a goal on a penalty shot. We should also give credit to Zasira Musovic, who's my goalie on Chelsea. She was absolutely outstanding today. And for as many chances as the United States were able to create, Zasira Musovic was there to stop them every time. But I guess, Rob, let's kind of talk about those chances, right? Because I think it was a problem throughout the tournament. They're getting chances, but they kind of put them right at the goalie. Like, let's not. Zasira Musovic made some great saves to that, but she also made some pretty plain and mundane saves that are going to go into her record. So talk to me about. We talked about the defense and the double pivot. What about the attackers out there today?
Look, I know Alex Morgan is an institution in the game, globally and also for country. But anybody who's watched, Alex Morgan play the last, couple of years knows that, she doesn't have the speed anymore. And when teams that play with her play very one-dimensionally, huff it at Alex Morgan, hope she does a hold-up play, or gets a lucky bounce and could go in goal, have a defensive, error on the other side, and then she gets a shot off, and it's worked. She scored like that, and she scored 5 goals for the Wave this year. The problem was that the best striker on this team, the best number 9 center forward on this team, is not Alex Morgan, and is the multi-dimensional Sophia Smith. And why Sophia Smith? Look, I love Sophia Smith. I think she can play multiple positions. I just think that with the U.S., with Alex Morgan up top, was very one-dimensional, and they played huff it to Alex Morgan or get it to the wings and cross it to Alex Morgan or anybody else who enters the box, like Lindsey Horan, which, look, she had a great goal and on a free kick. That was great and all, but against the Netherlands, but it's just a one-dimensional strategy. And I would definitely not have started Alex Morgan in this game. I probably would not started her with Portugal after seeing how she did the first 2 games. So that's that. I think because of that, you sort of handcuff Trinity Rodman and Sophia Smith's ability to, multi-dimensional ability to get the ball into the box or score goals. You're asking them to do one thing and one thing only, and because of that, it's very predictable. And Alex just does not have that spark anymore like she had in 2019. It's not her game anymore, and it's okay. There's other players that can come in and do the job, and Vlaco just refused to see it. I did not like Lindsey Horan as the attacking midfielder. I mean, if you're gonna put her in the midfield, that's the only place you really put her. But I definitely would have loved to have Savannah DeMello there as a because I think she, she showed some fight in the minute she got, and she started in the game when she started in the game they won. And she's a really good attacking midfielder. I would have definitely played her here. So that was my only option. I mean, you gotta start Trinity in Sophia. You had to. They had to get in the field. I would have put Lynn Williams as my number 9 if I had to pick one. I would put Sophia at number 9 and put Williams as a winger, and then just have them all kind of like go crazy, because I think they add a little bit more. They're more dynamic, but once again, this is my issue. Drop the whole group, not just his game. So we continue on, but like just going back to the keeper, you're right. There was made some good saves, but very mundane ones that any keeper would have made. 11 total, and more than half of them were pretty much like, they're right at her. And so, you finishing is important. You can get your foot to the ball, you can get your head to the ball, but it's where you place it that matters. Finishing it's important, and the U.S. just didn't have chances here. I mean, the very fact that the keeper made 11 saves means that you have plenty of chances to maybe tweak your shot a little bit and get it in the back of the net, and did it happen?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of narratively going through the game. Um, it's it's not much, but Lindsey Horan did have a really, really good opportunity um, uh, right after halftime, about 10 minutes. She just could not bend it around Musovic. She made a wonderful, strong-handed save to force the ball around the corner. Now, one thing that struck me, and so we can talk about this. We should probably talk about this more once we get to overtime. Um, but during the regulation play, Vlatko chose to stick with what was not working. He only made one sub during regulation. That was taking off Trinity Rodman for Lynn Williams. I mean, Lynn Williams is a very good player. So, I think that was a pretty appropriate substitute. But Rob, when you're chasing a game, your team hasn't scored in 2 full games. Why on earth do you not throw someone else in there to maybe fire it?
There's some ballers here. Like, I would have put DeMello in there. I would have put Alyssa Thompson in here. I definitely would not. I would have kept Trinity. I know Trinity was battling the cold, but definitely would have kept Trinity out there. I would have taken Alex out at the 66th minute. Definitely. Instead, I like the Lynn Williams idea was good. I mean, substitution was good. It was for the wrong person. And I mean, yeah, like, it's just, there are some players here that Vlatko just refused to use. You have attacking midfielders. Ashley Sanchez could have gotten here as well. Has played well for for, I believe, the Spirits. Correct? Yeah, Spirit. There's a lot of players here, but anyway, no. So just one sub. When you are knocking at the door of Sweden, you had the players. They use the players. Like, Sweden made 2 substitutions in the regulation period, and brought at least one attacker in. So I'm just like, I'm dumbfounded here with this lineup. Like, and this is the whole tournament in general for Vlatko. Why he did what he did, and then the second winger that you bring on is Rapinoe and not Alyssa Thompson. Like, again, like, look, once again, Rapinoe is an institution, has fought for women's rights on the field and off the field, has done amazing things for equal pay. And I get it. Nobody will ever take away 2019 from her, and nobody will ever take away that beautiful cross at Abby Wambach in 2011 away from her. Nobody will. But I'm sorry, like, you need ballers. You need people in form. You need people who can score. You need quickness in these games. And she does not bring that, unfortunately. And why she's why she's even here in the first place is a topic we're going to talk about later. But she should not be one of the subs coming in, like, at this late in the game, like, and then, look, people want to say, like, oh, we brought her because she could take really good PKs. Well, how did that turn out?
Well, we'll keep rolling along towards that. But here's the thing. I agree with you, but I don't understand that substitution at all on, like, a lot of levels. First of all, maybe maybe the argument could be that Alex Morgan was, she gave you more than 9 minutes, and really, could you expect much more than that out of her? But just about a minute or two before that, she generated a chance and a shot on goal that Musovic had to save. So, her play today, Morgan, was, I think, maybe the best in the tournament outside of some moments in Vietnam. But so you're going to take her out and put in Megan Rapinoe, who's been completely ineffective for the entire tournament. She just She hasn't been her old self. Yes. Golden Boot, Golden Ball, Ballon d'Or winner from 2019. But there's nothing about her play on the field that she's shown this time that should have won her minutes in a knockout phase. And it wasn't like the only other two substitutes that Vladko put on, totaling 4. She put Vladko put on Vladko put on Rapinoe to play, like to generate the chance, and she rewarded him thusly. She fumbled the ball over the end line. She put corner straight into the side netting. Julie Ertz had to go over to her and say, "Yo, you've got to put these corners here." And then she did. And then the next one was better. But Megan Rapinoe was bad today. She was just straight up bad, and she has not been good in this tournament. So, when you've got an option like Alyssa Thompson on the bench, it's kind of baffling to me as to how or why this decision was made. And this is like it was such a poor decision that I agreed with Taylor Twellman on something, who said Vladko was playing people based on their reputation rather than their actual form, which, I mean, when Taylor Twellman's making sense, my God, the world is out of whack, man. The world is out of whack. So let's move forward. Like I mentioned, the United States did generate some chances in extra time. None of them went in, obviously. But then we have our final 2 substitutions, which are Christy Muse and Kelly O'Hara. And by the way, Vladko almost didn't get them in the game because he waited so long that it was crossing 120 minutes. Lindsey Horan puts the ball out of play just to get them in. So, you've got Christy Muse, you've got Kelly O'Hara. They're brought on pretty much specifically to do penalty kicks. So the match ends in a draw, 0-0. We go to the penalties. U.S. starts out pretty good, 3 for 3. And Sweden airmails their first miss. And so then up steps Megan Rapinoe with the chance to put the United States up by 2. And it sails high. Rob, the only substitutes he made in this game were ostensibly for penalties. How does the Rapinoe thing? What was it? Too much pressure?
It's Megan Rapinoe. She's seen it all. Like she's literally made penalties in the most crucial games, in the most high-stake games, has played in the biggest games, has been in overtimes and all rounds. I'm just at a loss. All right, so let's just go back to the 2 substitutes. So, look, I love Chrissy Muse. I love Kelly O'Hara because they play for my club and they play for Gotham FC. And I'm like, look, I'm rooting for them. I'm like, yeah, let's go. And we're happy Christy got in the game, got some minutes in World Cup, and she said she could say I played in a World Cup. And her scoring a goal was like, yeah, I was nervous, right? Because they're not fresh. They haven't hit the ball much. I'm like, for Christy, all tournament. Kelly got into a couple games already. Christy mixed it in, and with Pino, I just, she just missed it. I mean, she just missed it. As simple as that, she just missed it. But once again, when the rosters came out, people were saying, "Oh, Megan Rapinoe's here for free kicks and for penalties, and here's her moment to be the reason that she's here," and she blows it. And it would have been great because she would have had a great opportunity to go up for to go 4 goals, I mean for penalties, and then potentially seal the deal. And so I'm
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm just like lost here. Like, it feels like just I'm really confused. And then what's even more confusing is the next penalty taker.
Well, yeah. So let's talk about that. Megan Rapinoe airmails ball. Alyssa Nair steps up and saves the next penalty. So up steps Sophia Smith with a chance to put the United States through to the quarterfinals, end the misery, but calm some nerves, put everything down. I had already started writing the text to you guys, Rob, about how we were going to, because it's Sophia Smith, the NWSL leading goal scorer with 10.
And champion and MVP or whatever she did.
Yeah. Yeah. And league champion with the Thorns last year. Granted, she's only 21, but she misses the net entirely.
Shocking. I mean, this was the shock of the tournament, and I'm like, what is going on? Like my girl Sophia Smith, Soph, the assassin in the box, just a terror when it comes to playing for Thorns. And man, I don't want to put too much stake on this game, but like, you're talked about for a while with these misses. Like, it gets into your head.
I mean,
I worry about her.
I hope that the result of it is sort of like Bukayo Saka for England in the Euros. That there's sort of a rallying around her. She's definitely going to be pressed about it. It's her first World Cup experience, and it was not good. But much like the fans of Philadelphia of all places rallied around Trey Turner this weekend to kind of pick him up. I think Sophia Smith is definitely going to need that. And I hope any Thorns fans are listening. You're very encouraging because she had her chance to prove she was the truth in the future of U.S. soccer. And while that might have slipped away temporarily, like we really are going to need her going forward into the future. But yeah, I'm not kidding. I was writing the text about how we were still in the World Cup and then we weren't. So Alyssa Nair goes up, takes a penalty. We get a back and forth. We go to Kelly O'Hara, the substitute brought on in the 120th minute to take a penalty. And she hits the post.
Man, and she guessed right too. The keeper's going the other way. All she had to do was slot it in there. No, at the slowest speed possible. She could have knuckleballed it in there. Hit the post, man. Those inches, man. Just devastating, tragic. Oh man, I mean we could add it,
But so here's the question, Rob. Why did she come in the game? Because she shot 7th, right? She wasn't supposed to take a shot. So, and Alyssa Nair shot before her, the goalie, which frankly, I don't understand why more goalies don't shoot in shootouts. I was a goalie growing up, and what I used to do, like half of practice with the other goalie, was like take penalties and stop penalties. Like if you're the one stopping the penalty, the other goalie is the one taking it. So I don't understand why goaltenders aren't better. Of course, I didn't make it to the pros, so maybe I was doing it wrong anyway. But you bring a person in to shoot a penalty. You don't put them in the 5 people to shoot the penalty, and then she goes out there and misses the penalty.
So the question
Explain the logic.
Do you think that after Bjorn misses the penalty, which is in the 3rd round, do you think now the reason is, okay, look, we got to miss. We had to move Megan up because we definitely need a penalty. And then and then like and then she misses, and now because of that, now you want Sophia Smith obviously to take a penalty, right? Because she's a world class scorer, and so that's because of now the Nair thing surprises me. The Nair thing surprises me because she goes before Kelly O'Hara,
Right.
and look, let me tell you, like I have been knocking Alyssa Nair for the last few months, both for club and for country, and for various reasons, and we'll get into that later. But man, she stepped up and she made a penalty. Like she had some gumption today. Mad respect. She earned a little bit there for me. And any keeper who takes a penalty, I remember Manuel Neuer did it in 2012 in the Champions League final, which didn't help anyways. But
I remember.
I know you remember. So no, I think the excellent point. Maybe I had no idea if there was a decision or if Alyssa was like, I'm taking one, screw y'all, or what. But you're right, like it is a little tricky because you normally, if you're bringing people out for penalties, and we all know to bring it out for penalties, and you're the substitute in the 120th minute, why you're not more up in the pecking order. But I mean, at the end of the day, do you think do you think she should have went before Sophia and Megan? Like, I don't think so.
Well, I just don't understand, like, unless Emily Fox is so absolutely world-class bad at taking penalties that she couldn't even be trusted to be an 11 shooter, then like there was absolutely no reason for that, and she wasn't warm and she missed. And then we'll finish the tale here. Alyssa Naylor guesses right. The ball creeps over her and she tries to swat it away. However, goal line technology reveals that the ball had fully crossed the line by about a millimeter, and thus the United States were eliminated. By the way, Lena Hartig, the Arsenal player who took that shot, she had a very, very bad game, really. She did not do well coming on for Islani. It would have been a really, I mean, it's almost unjust, the fact that she got that ball barely over the line with the kind of form she was playing with today. But, whatever, United States is out. And now we come to the time where we can just rage. Rob, do you want to rage first?
Okay. I'm gonna rage on the rosters to begin with. All right, so I don't look. Once again, institutions were made here. I mean, we're picked here. I'm talking about you, Kelly O'Hara. I'm talking about you, Alex Morgan. I'm talking about you, Megan Rapinoe. And I even talking about you, Julie Ertz, and I'm talking about you, Alyssa Nair. Nair is probably out of those, look, do you bring her to camp? Yeah, sure. But I don't think she's better than a Casey Murphy. Anybody who's been watching Alyssa Nair the last few months for the Chicago Red Stars, who have a bad defense overall, minus Casey Kruger, knows that she lit in a lot of goals, and not all of them are her fault, but the ones that are her fault are really bad. She cheats on her close post. She is flat-footed. Her position is bad. She gave up an awful free kick right down the middle and to her, and went right through her arms to Ali Long in the last club game she's played for. I was dreaming that Casey Murphy would win the starting job over Alyssa Nair in camp. Did not happen. So that's ever number one. Julie Ertz, who 2 years away from the team, and the sport in general due to injury and also for parenthood, comes back, says, I want to play. And Vlatko says, fine, come on board, come into camp, come play some friendlies. And I'm like, you don't even have a club yet. How do we know you can play? You're gonna take away minutes potentially from Jalen Howell or Sam Coffey. Like that's what's going on. Like you're getting to camp based on your 2019 reputation. You're getting into camp based on your Julie Johnston era in 2015 when you're in a world-class center back. And look, she played a bunch of minutes with Angel City. Not a ton at the beginning, of course. So that's an issue right off the bat, right? I'm not, to me, like Blackout said, club four matters until it really doesn't. So that's the number one. So look, Alex, go on.
Yeah, go on. We're talking about Julie Ertz. Why bring her and play her out of position?
Well, the thing is, you can say that she could play both positions, but if I were a betting person, I would say the reason they brought her in because she's Julie Ertz, but she's been away from the game for a while. Only had a couple of months of club where she got major minutes. They don't know she could go do a whole tournament. We don't know. Like, so it was almost like a compromise. We're like, you know what? You're going to play center back. We're going to get you in the field somehow. But this way, because you're center back, you don't have to run around as much and cover as much ground, and thus you can conserve your minutes and we play you more. Or Alana Cook was so bad in practice, or is hurt and nobody knows about. And instead of putting somebody else there, they just said, okay, Julie Ertz, can you play center back? And she goes, of course, I could play center back. And so Lutz to Blacko in the flag and gets back there. No, so you're right. You're like, look, you bring in a quote unquote world-class six, a defensive midfielder, and you don't play her at defensive midfielder. And instead, you play Annie Sullivan, who does not play the six by herself, or does not play, or in a system where she's relied upon solely as the sole six, mostly with a double pivot, which is why she had a much better game tonight, by the way, because she had help on the double pivot. But and so I'm perplexed on that. Like I'm really that's confusing to me. Once again, Vlatko trying to channel and get the last bit of juice out of Jill Elz's girls from 2019, and it failed here. Alex Morgan, look, Alex Morgan once again. I know she's Alex Morgan. People are obsessed with the headband. It's just like the pinstripes of the Yankees, right? You can't take your eyes off the big headband. But anybody who's been watching the Wave lately knows that they play one-dimensionally with her, and she will feast on bad defenses. But in the World Cups, it's not like that. You're gonna find top players globally, and you're not gonna do that with a Wendy Renard or or a Heidering from Germany. You're not going to do, that against that competition. You're not going to do that. It's not going to work out for you. One-dimensional player. And Megan Rapinoe, look, once again, has done amazing things for the sport and for women's soccer in this country. Does not have it anymore. Cannot go full 90. Did not have the best club form until a month before the World Cup. And Kelly O'Hara, look, I love Kelly O'Hara. Look, she's done amazing things, plays for my team, captains my team sometimes, and I love her to death, but she does not belong in this roster anymore. She hasn't played a ton at Gotham. She's been hurt here and there. She just can't give it her all. She's just there for the vibes, I guess. I'm not sure. And so those are my like weird roster choices. Like, why are they here? But look, I don't know if Vlatko and the U.S. Soccer were like, you know what? We are confident enough that we can win this tournament with these new stack of young players like Sophia Smith and Rodman and Alyssa Thompson, but also play Morgans, Rapinos, O'Haras, and win. And maybe with arrogance, I'm not sure. But clearly, anybody who's been watching the club form, club soccer for the last 6 months knows that these players don't have it. anymore, and they don't have it like where they can dominate the world stage anymore. I'm sorry, and Flacco screwed the pooch on here, and because of that, he left off players like a Morgan Weaver, left off Sam Coffey, a Jalen Howell, a Carson Pickett, who would have been great to have as a fullback, because then you could move Crystal Dunn up to her natural position, which she loves and plays and wins titles with league titles, I should say, with the Thorns as attacking midfielder. And she's been very vocal about not liking to play fullback. And instead, Flacco's like, you know what, you go back there. You still play back there. As opposed to making somebody else play back there and then maybe getting more oomph out of Crystal Dunn. So from the get-go, this roster selection was doomed for a moment like this to fail, where you would have you tie the Netherlands, you tie Portugal, they'll score Portugal actually, and you lose to Sweden on penalties. And because of this roster selection, we're at this moment. This is exactly what happened. Expected, somewhat expected, not unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, I always kind of had a vibe like 2011, where going into it, it didn't feel great. And then, the group stage, they lost to Sweden. Always Sweden, isn't it? But then, and we're seconds away from going out of the World Cup in the round of 16, if not for that absolutely amazing pass from Megan Rapinoe to Abby Wambach. But that team still reached the finals. This team really never threw off vibes like they were going to reach the finals. I mean, let's go back into some of the other games. Let's talk about substitutes and lack of substitutes. I mean, why was he not using his bench?
Excellent question. So because all right, so okay, all right, we'll start with the Vietnam game first, real quick on the substitutes. Megan Rapinoe's the first player off the bench, along with Roosevelt. He's 1 for 2. Rose should have played. Get her some minutes. Get her going. Because you're gonna need her own tournament. But Megan Rapinoe, Alyssa Thompson comes in the 76th minute. That's fine. She should have come in the 61st. Now, I think what I heard is Lynn Williams did not play this game because she was recovering from a cold. And if anybody who's watched the videos where they were doing some promotion for NWSL, and she did a video saying, hey, good luck Gotham in your games, she had a very, very raspy voice. So potentially she wasn't fit enough to go to play. So they're going to rest her up. So understand that. But then Kelly O'Hara and Sofia Huerta are the last substitutes. So Flacco in this game substituted early, but didn't do all the proper subs. I would have got a Sonnen in here early on to E-minutes. I definitely would have gotten, I would have honestly, I probably would have kept DeMello the whole game. I think DeMello got subbed out early on. I would have kept it the whole game. I would have got a lot of Cook potentially, a Sanchez, even a Christian Mewis, even more minutes. All right, but Flacco. So this game, the substitution choices were weird, but they were early, and then.
Wait. So let me just say that I would have put Rapinoe on there too, because that's the only game she should have been in. Like, that's the game that we're going to win. And while it was a little bit closer than I think we all expected it, frankly, until Rose Lavelle got in the game and started opening up new things. I think Rose Lavelle not being entirely available really hurt the team, but I think I don't want to take any blame away from this game plan, because the game plan was too much up the sides. But I'm okay with Rapinoe going in, getting some good minutes against Vietnam, because those are the only minutes she should have gotten. So that's that's a game we should have won. But let's talk about the Netherlands now.
Okay, there's one substitute. It was Roosevelt in the 46th minute.
One substitute.
One substitute, and it was for Savannah DeMello. And DeMello, once again, who was doing really good against the Netherlands, and who wasn't doing good? Andy Sullivan was not doing it. It was awful. Got turned hard, and she was the first victim of the sequence where the Netherlands got their goal. But Roosevelt comes out at the half, and I know she had an assist, great. But once again, this game was calling for Lynn Williams and Alyssa Thompson, or Ashley Sanchez, because let me tell you, they looked gassed. They were pressing hard, and they were winning balls. Look, they were on it. The last 20 minutes or so, they were knocking on the door. Netherlands had no idea what to do. They were knocking, but I would see Sophia Smith. I would see Alex Morgan. I would see Rodman huffing, puffing, pulling shorts. They were gassed. And Vlatko said, you know what? No, the Roosevelt sub is okay with me. I don't need anything else. And I'm like, you have ballers on this squad. Use your players. You have 5 subs. Use them. And you have the talent that no other team in the world has on the bench.
Right.
So why are you not using that talent? We had the momentum. We didn't want to lose the momentum. No, if you lose the momentum because you replace 2 players on the squad, then you know what? You really don't have momentum. You would have added to that, and you would have put the finishing touches on it. Really, really tired defense by the Dutch.
Yeah, I mean, the U.S. did kind of wear them down, but they kind of wore themselves down in the process. And I think that, that really kind of showed through. First of all, there's, running Sophia Smith all over the world. Who knows, maybe tired legs played a part today, but they certainly, they did not look like the team that should win against Portugal, not at all. And they were only saved from, going out in the group stage by the post. Vlatko actually does use substitutes here, but kind of he had to, because otherwise people were going to die.
But once again, in the Portugal game, right? Megan Rapinoe is a first sub, not Trinity Rodman.
Right.
Not Alyssa Thompson.
Yeah, Alyssa Thompson saw 2 minutes.
Yeah. The same amount of minutes as Kelly O'Hara. Look, Alyssa Thompson and Jude Endo have been carrying Angel City to somewhat respectable performances. They're so bad in the league that because they don't have Kristen Press, Cindy LaRue just came back. They fired their coach, who just a personal daycare. She left Gotham just to coach Angel City. So screw her. You don't leave my squad for Hollywood, and I'm ruining. So yeah, no. Anyways, going back to the game. Megan Rapinoe's the first sub in the 61st minute. Then second sub is Trinity Rodman in the 84th minute, along with Emily Sonnet. What's it like? I'm sorry. Look, the 60 minute, the 70 minute is when you make impact subs who could take the game to the defense. That's a Trinity Rodman. That's an Alyssa Thompson right there, and or Lynn Williams. The Williams start. Yeah, Lynn Williams started this game, but you take her out and not Morgan out. I would have taken Morgan out. Honestly, she's been going. I don't get it. It's puzzling here. It's like if Vlatko's look, you wanted me to make subs, I make subs. I'm like, not those subs, dude. Come on, better. Maybe you don't.
No, I don't think he does. I really just don't think he does. The substitutions made absolutely no sense at all. So is it time to talk about vodka?
Let go away. You
Vla-
know,
so let's answer some important questions here, Rob. When will Vlatko be fired? How will Vlatko be fired? And is Vlatko the kind of coach you break up with via text?
well, his contract is up anyways, so he's not going to be fired. He's going to be given a Berhalter treatment for a little bit and pretty much told, nah, your contract is done. We're not going to renew it. And I'm pretty sure he's not going to get the Berhalter treatment because he's not going to get another contract back. No,
I was going to say, I hope it's not the Berhalter treatment
Yeah.
where he goes away for a little while. There's kind of a void of no coaching. And then, oh, hey, he's just back again.
Well, the irony in that, I mean, mentioning that is that in the Berhalter situation, the person who took over toward the tail end of the no Berhalter era, BJ Callahan, pretty much he does what I want a coach to do with this squad. It's like, look, you guys are good. I mean, you guys are great. You guys can play. I will put the best people in positions. Y'all do your thing, right? I'm gonna talk to you a little bit here. I'll talk to you a little bit there, and which is what BJ Callahan did in the Nations League with the U.S. These players on the U.S. on the women's side, they're all brilliant. They all can play. You add a couple of pieces here that you didn't bring in, and just put them in good positions and let them go. Like, I don't know what Flacco is thinking. Like, you know, the easy part he did wrong, correct. He did completely wrong here. So look, I hope someone chews him out. I hope like a player's parent chews him out. I want to hear about that if it happens.
No, we don't need any more parents getting involved with coaches.
No, good point. Good point.
Throwing oranges at each other.
Good point. I'm just saying, like, Black Code should feel ashamed. He probably his contract runs out in a couple of weeks. He should just say, you know what, I'm going to resign now. Don't give me my salary for the next couple of weeks. I don't want it. I deserve to be fired, and say I will sack myself. And I will stay in Australia and, you know, hang out here for a little bit. Don't come to the U.S. We'll find, because we will, we'll probably scream and shout at you. No, but this is bad. And here's the problem. The problem is there's no really like obvious option to like take over. Like there's like the coaches that you might want, like they all got jobs. Like you like the dream hire, like an Emma Hayes. You think Emma Hayes wants to leave beautiful Chelsea with that squad? And especially after they got Macario and Fischel there, and Mia? You're like, no. Emma Hayes is like rubbing her hands and is going to feast on the Women's Super League over there and just going to no, she don't want to go. Other coaches don't want to go that are quality. So yeah, it's going to be a tough choice to find a good coach. Honestly, it really is.
So, like, let me just rant a little bit here. The warning signs were there for this team back in the fall when we went overseas to Europe and lost 3 consecutive games away. Now, Europe is getting better. Our built-in advantage with Title IX that's made us the best women's sporting nation in the world is going away as other countries begin to invest in it and doing it with money as opposed to college scholarships, which is how we've been able to develop athletes for so long here. But that said, the warning signs that we were not good enough were there. It got covered up when we won the She Believes Cup, which is the U.S. Women's National Team Cup presented by She Believes. We went into this World Cup woefully underprepared. They all looked lost out there. Vlatko's coaching decisions, like what? Explain to me what the game plan was. Because here's what I saw. It's over rely on Sophia Smith in a position that isn't her natural position. like threading it up the side to her to get the game going was not the right move. And I think especially in Portugal, I saw something like our touch map was like 3/4 on the left-hand side, trying to get it to her to get the game going. The game plan was awful. The substitutions were awful. It's a terrible coaching job with one of the most brilliant rosters you could ever have. And so Vladko cannot be allowed to stay. There can't even be an argument for that. The only argument is consistency. And who wants to be consistent with what they just saw out there at this World Cup? This was a complete failure, and there needs to be change. And some of it is, some of our players who are past their prime either need to accept a smaller role where they're not stars anymore, or they need to be left at home. And secondly, when we need to find a better coach. So on that, I had two kind of, I think, a little bit outside the box suggestions. Now, the first one has a job. They're both men too, by the way, and I feel bad about that. Sorry, ladies, but I'm thinking outside the box. So yeah, I mean, someone like Laura Harvey from the OL Reign, like she might be a good choice. But what do you think about this, Rob? What about Lorne Donaldson? He is the coach of Jamaica, so obviously he still has a job for right now. But he worked with Sophia Smith, the youth ranks. He lives in Colorado, and he's shown some pretty good success, taking a Jamaican team through to the knockout round. I think he might be an option, maybe, because obviously the U.S. women's national team's a big step up from Jamaica. I don't know. He might want to, continue on building there. Although I think they have a problem with payments in that federation, so he might want the financial stability. But second, what about Jesse Marsh?
I think Jesse Marsh he's looking for the club payday on the men's side of things.
Well, he's still looking.
He's still looking. I mean, he'll find a job. He don't want to give up on that dream yet. I think that Laura Harvey shot's good. She did coach the U20s, so she might like that. She'll see some of these players that she knows, and bring them up. So I think that's definitely an option. The Lorne Donaldson option is good too. You're right. Especially someone who definitely Sophia Smith trust and knows how to use Sophia Smith at her best. So that's another option. So I like those both. I like those two if I had to pick one. If I had to pick one, I would probably choose Laura Harvey. Only because I think, she coaches on the club. She has coached at a club game. She's close to international, so she knows a little bit on both sides. Club form won't matter to her, I think, which is important to me. So if I had to pick one, I would pick Laura Harvey. It's there is some change going on in OL Reign. The OL is leaving. Part of that equation.
Yeah. Yes.
So I don't know that they want to make a change in general. Look, like the USA is a top job in international soccer, like especially women's soccer. Like it's just like you have all these stars. Like, can you imagine? Like you have a basket of goodies at your disposal. Like, and the toughest job is going to be for any new coach. It's like, how do you get these players and sail them away to retirement? We're talking a Julie Ertz, a Morgan, a Rapinoe, O'Hara, those players, like even a Nair, and I hate to say it, potentially, like Dunn's getting up there as well. So Christy Mewis is no longer going to be part of this picture anymore. It's like someone has to do it. Someone has to tell these players, no, your time is done. It's over. Thank you for the memories. New cycle, time to go. But because I think like a coach like Laura Harvey will be the person to do it. But any coach who comes in is going to make those hard choices. It's going to be hated on because let's be honest here. There are people out there who watch the World Cup, watch the Olympics, and totally forget about their leads going on. So when Rapinoe is the first substitute off the bench, it's a damn shame. Look, people love her, and I get it, but it's a damn shame that if you love her and you think that she can make an impact in the game, which tells me that you don't watch the domestic league. You don't watch. You say they're your favorite players, but if they're your favorite players, that means you watch them every week, and you don't. If you're cheering for Rapinoe coming in the 61st minute before much better impact players. So to me, we need a manager who pays attention to the club game. Club form matters. At the same time, how do they gel with the other players and the other stars in the squad? So, I mean, I'm gonna turn the page hopefully tomorrow and start looking forward to the Olympics. And the Olympics roster, by the way, is much smaller. You probably only carry 2 goalkeepers, not 3. And I think that's a perfect time to, just turn the cycle over and get some new players here, and correct some of the wrongs that Vlatko did.
Yeah, and Sam Coffey, especially NWSL leader and assists. Like, come on. Oh, what one last name? Would you take Pia Sundhage did very poorly for Brazil. Would you take her back?
No, because I could look. I want to take her back for that, and also because she was a Swedish coach when they knocked us out as well. That was a game where Hope Solo went off after the game and called them cowards and whatever. So no, I want to take Pia back. I'm sorry. Look, if you can't take that Brazil squad, and also look, I have once again, club matters to me. If you're taking that Brazil squad and you don't put my Gotham girl Bruninha to play after she's just been wrecking it in the best league in the world, then you know what? No, I don't want you coaching my country at all whatsoever. Again, no. But no, Pia, your time is done.
Yeah, no, given the Brazilians league form this year, that was an incredibly shocking result. So, well, Rob, what are your final thoughts on the United States performance at the 2023 Women's World Cup?
Just dismal, disappointing, frustrating. Did not have to be this way. But the pieces to this moment were laid last year in that European tour, and it just continued from there. And it's a damn shame because I think being put in the right position, I think we could have done some damage here. You could have saw some major shifts in the style of play, exciting type of play, got rid of the old guard, and Vlatko didn't do it. He wanted to get one last bit out of players like Rapinoe and Morgan and Ertz, and it didn't work out. And the USA paid the price for it. It paid the price for this arrogance, this total lack of tactical ability. And I'm disappointed. It's frustrating to me, and I feel bad for all those fans out there who traveled and did a 16-hour or 20+ hour trek to Oz in New Zealand to hoping the U.S. makes a run. And you have to join the World Cup as a neutral, and that's great and all, but man, when your country did it and they could do better, hurts, man, hurts.
Yeah, no, I've got to say, look, we are not going to win every World Cup. And if that's your honest expectation that anything short of a win is a failure, I mean, I guess if you're not first, you're last, like Ricky Bobby said. Um, if you're that kind of person, okay. But this is a team that had better talent. Yeah, we did better than some of the world's best sides, like Germany and Brazil and Canada, in making it out of the group. But at the end of the day, you have to take a look at this team and recognize that it needs some change. And you have to put a lot of this blame on Vlatko Andonovski, from his squad selection to his inflexibility in his formations, his poor managerial decisions. It's time for him to go, and it's time for us all to move on and get ready for the Olympics, which are next year already. It's kind of crazy because the 2020 Olympics got pushed to 2021, so it feels like they're coming up too soon. But Rob, I have one joy left, and I hope it's not extinguished tonight. And it's my girl, Sam Kerr, at home, finally playing, hopefully. Maybe Sam Kerr's legs have fallen off and everyone's just lying about it. But yeah, I'm hard in there for Australia now as my secondary team.
Yo, man, I'm telling you, man, I got the opening game for Australia 95% because of Sam Kerr. And when she was not in the lineup, I was devastated. And not just just as a football fan, you want to see the best play. You want to see You want to see the stars. And Sam Kerr just is a star, like a pure poacher, do everything in the box you ask her to do, fearless, just and plays a game like with joy. As they say, loves their football. So, and then for her not to play at home when they're hosting the World Cup, it's just like, I feel for her. So I'm glad they're here, and I'm glad the Matildas got to this point, so Kerr could come back. So please, Sam Kerr, come back. The world of football needs you. You're a joy to watch. Please, and then hope you do well against the Deans. And yeah, we want to see you play.
Yeah, no, I know we could actually do a whole nother show right now. You up for it? We'll record the whole nother show about every other team in the World Cup.
I want look. I want look. I think I was talking in the chat yesterday. And we could spend a lot of time on the other teams. Just yesterday's performance by South Africa in general, the whole tournament. But yesterday, even though they lost 2-0, even though they played very well. Maybe I shouldn't be shocked anymore, but they played amazingly well against the Dutch, and very unfortunate to not do better. Man, it was watching them counter, watching them get to balls, watching them do little flicks here and there on the wings, watching them get opportunities. Man, this beautiful ball, love it. And look, and maybe that ad that Fox had with the U.S. Women's National Team, where the world is coming, or for them, they came. And teams like South Africa, teams like Morocco are pretty much the definition of the world is coming. Finally, the women's game is getting elevated in all parts of the world, and we're seeing great football because of that. And maybe they were good all along and they just needed a little push, and here they are. So it's been beautiful to see. Beautiful tournament so far.
Yeah, 3 African teams in the knockout round. A host out. It's been an absolutely exceptional tournament. It is a bit of a shame for American audiences that so many of the games occur between midnight and 6 a.m. at least on the East Coast. But that's, it's been fun to watch, and I'm looking forward to another 2 weeks. So with that said, let's wrap it up. 2 more weeks of World Cup without the U.S. women's national team, who crashed out in defeat today and whose carcass we picked at for far too long tonight. So starting the 4th season, the Too Many Guys Soccer Show, for Bayern Rob, I'm Chelsea Mike. We'll see you soon.